Hello, Steph here from stephsophandos.com. I want to speak to fear today, and I want to speak to the restriction that fear places on our expansion, on our beingness, on our doing, on our navigating through this world. And I want to speak to how fear is not only restrictive by nature and constricted by nature, but also how fear pulls us away from wholeness, pulls us away from our authentic self. Fear is like a rubber band or a many rubber bands, and they constrict and they tighten our being. They force us to be in a state of inaction. They force us to be in a state of unawareness. These rubber bands, these multiple fears that we have of life that are usually preconditioned circumstances, generally from our upbringing or from experiences that we've had as young people or even as adults. And we hang on, we latch on to these experiences as gospel truth, as absolute truth, definitive truth, that we must remain in this restrictive state in order to function in life. And that is so wrong. I don't like using the terms good and bad and wrong and right, but it is wrong. Or rather, it is against our innate ability to fulfill our infinite potential. When we are in that state of fear, we are not coming from a state or a place of wholeness or authenticity. We are not able to express the truest versions of ourselves. This is very sad. And you can imagine if there are many of us that come from this state of fear, this place of fear, and we're all roaming the earth in this constant state of restriction and constriction. We're not expressing the fullest of our potential. We're not living life fully immersed in the wonder of what life is, but rather we're roaming aimlessly in a state of unawareness, unaware of who we can be, of who we are. And instead of playing a big game in life, we play a small game. It makes me sad. But what makes me happy and what gives me hope and joy is the process of awareness. And if we can connect to ourselves, we realize that we needn't stay or remain in this state of fear. We realize that these scripts of fear that we run day in and day out, moment by moment, being fearful of being critiqued or judged, being fearful of success, being fearful of expressing our true nature, being fearful of journeying into the wonder of life, being fearful of being heard, being fearful of taking risks, being fearful of life as a whole. Needn't be that way. It's not necessarily our scripts. And what gives me joy and what gives me hope, and what I speak to tremendously in my programs, is that we have the capacity to be aware human beings, to be powerfully aware human beings. And it's that awareness that provides us with leverage to move away from being in a state of fear or in a perpetual constant state of fear. We are provided, that awareness provides us with leverage to live life fully, wholly, authentically, with transparency and congruency of self to our outer world, to those around us. And it's that awareness that enhances our communication, that builds strength upon strength in our relationships, relationship to self and relationship to others, primarily relationship to self. That's the most important part. I urge you, if you have fears, begin to identify them. Ask yourself the question, what are my fears? What am I afraid of? Bring that into the sphere of your awareness, into the immediate sphere of your consciousness. And when you do that, when you begin that process, you begin to give less power to fear and more power to your true nature, to your true self, which is a state of infinite potential. There's only one thing that holds us back in life, and that's us. That's ourselves. Get aware with who you are. Get really real with who you are. Know yourself in fullness in every aspect. All the fear, all the garbage, all the pain. Get to know it all. Make it aware. Make the unknown known. And we do that by asking some big questions and sitting with those questions and having the courage to persevere. We need persistence, we need grit, we need resilience here. We need resilience in our hearts, to get through and to move past those sticking points, to move beyond fear and into a state of infinite love and infinite acceptance and blessing for who we are as human beings. And when we do that, we do it with power, we inspire others to do it as well. And then all of a sudden, there's not all these people roaming around in fear, but rather roaming with clarity, conviction, honesty, integrity, transparency, authenticity, wholeness, clarity and direction in who they are and who they want to be and how they wish to live their lives. That's you, that's us, that's me, that's all of us. We all have that potential, but we need to start somewhere. Apply resilience and persistence. Constantly practice moving away from fear and into wholeness, and be patient with yourself. And those 3 P's of practice, patience and persistence are something that I teach greatly in my programs, and I feel, I know that is powerful in so many areas of life. I want to thank you so much for listening. I wish you many blessings, and I wish that you embrace your fear so that you make that fear known. And when it's known, it becomes malleable and you can deal with it. We can deal with it together as a humanity. Thank you so much.